Hello, everyone. I have another small and mighty nugget today. So, this is one that comes up often when in my work in coaching, where a lot of times people will talk about their rewiring journey and they really want relief, which is understandable. But oftentimes, what we end up doing is aiming at relief instead of recovery, and when we do that, we don't get either. So, I'm offering this to you because if you choose recovery over belief, you're going to get relief at some point. And I want to explain two things with this as to how this works. So, the first one is when we are choosing relief, what that means neurologically is that we're choosing a familiar brain pathway. Because that's easier to go down. That's what the relief feeling is that it's a well-grooved pathway. So, by definition, if you are in recovery from limbic system impairment and you are experiencing a temporary release because you're indulging in like a coping mechanism or complaining or something like that, and there's a temporary feeling of it feeling good, and then you feel terrible again after, that's because you're going down an old pathway and that feels easier. It's a lot more well grooved. And also, we have a neurochemical addiction to stress chemistry and to these old patterns that keeps us going down them. So, when you do that, it's going to temporarily feel like, whoa, oh my God, all the pressure's off. I feel so much better. This is so easy. That means you're going down an old pathway. So when you are doing your practicing recovery, you're going to be consistently acting greater than you feel and grooving new neurological pathways, which is like being on a highway and you're paving the road as you're driving it. And that is takes a lot more effort. It's not as comfortable. It doesn't feel like relief in the short term, but that's what leads to you actually rewiring your limbic system and having well-grooved pathways of calm and joy and ease and pleasure that actually allow you to feel good forever. And before that, for stretches and periods of time where you're just the stress switch is off and you're in a good place. That's going to happen even before you reach full recovery. So, but it happens by itself. So be aware not to look too much for that only. Know that during the times when you're in ease, you are enjoying the fruits of your previous labor. When you're in times of difficulty and really having to groove that new pathway and it takes a lot of effort, you're in that time of building your future ease. So they both serve a purpose. So that's the first bit. The second bit is just as important, if not a little more, that when we are in this process, what allows for recovery is that we demonstrate to our limbic system that the symptoms we're experiencing are not dangerous. The belief that they are dangerous is part of what keeps the stress chemistry going that perpetuates them. So the key to recovery is being willing to be and being able to be comfortable, being uncomfortable, being with your symptoms. That is what creates that essential okayness, is what I call it. There's a calm. Your baseline of calm comes from recognizing this is not a threat and I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. From a nervous system standpoint, that is your recovery. Because as we go through life is going to have moments that are uncomfortable, and our ability to remain calm and keep a regulated and calm nervous system and limbic system depends on our ability to maintain our calm even when, regardless of whether we feel good or not so great, or whether life is feeling good to us or whether life is feeling not so great to us. So we build that capacity in recovery, and that's what allows for sustainable recovery. So the capacity, this magic time in your journey is when you're having symptoms and you are uncomfortable and you are acting greater, you are keeping your mind and emotions completely engaged in something positive. That dissonance, it feels very odd. It can feel like you're in two worlds at once. It can feel like, you have both stress chemistry and relaxation chemistry going on at the same time. That's the magic space, because that's where you are demonstrating in an embodied way in your body, in your neurology, in your response, in your emotional center, your limbic system, and in your nervous system, that these symptoms are not a threat because I'm calm and happy while they're present. And that's what allows for the limbic system to recognize, okay, this is not dangerous. We are not in danger because of these symptoms. that's what creates, eventually it'll click. It can take some time. That's where it takes time. But then when that clicks, the limbic system is like, oh, okay, we're safe. Everything's okay. There's no threat. We can turn this stress switch off now. Because it's still responding to the symptoms and pops as if they are actual threats in nature, like tigers, or, it's responding that way. So that key, and this is part of too why we want to continue to expand your life, your training zone, and push yourself into a place where if you have the capacity, I see sometimes clients will back off from incremental training to stay more comfortable because they don't want to actually have to do this part because it's uncomfortable, but this is where all the growth is. So this is about choosing recovery over relief. That's why it's necessary. And another affirmation that I really like for this is I choose what's real, not what's easy. That's one I told myself a lot of times as I was going through my journey. And ultimately in life, just a little last nugget here, the only way to have a consistently regulated nervous system is if your emotions are only attached to something that you have power over, that you have control over. And my particular way of looking at this is love. I always have the power to love. I can always choose what's right. And when I do that, that's in my power, no matter how my limbic system or my life are behaving, right? Limbic system in the past, now life. No matter what's happening, I can do the next thing that's right. I can do the next thing that's loving. When that's where you have all of your emotions, that's what I want. You are always going to be able to hit that target. And that creates calm in the nervous system, calm in the limbic system, and then all the symptoms that are there because of limbic and nervous system dysregulation will disappear. So that is my offering for you today about choosing recovery over relief, and I wish you courage and strength in your journey. Much love.